How the Louisiana Purchase doubled America overnight. In 1803, the United States made a deal so massive, so bold, that it doubled the size of the entire country. Overnight, no war, no invasion, just a signature for $15 million. At the time, critics called it reckless, unconstitutional, a gamble that could bankrupt a young nation. Today, it's considered one of the greatest land deals in history. But here's the real question. How did America convince a global superpower to sell half a continent, and why did France agree? Let's break it down. Setting the stage. It's the early 1800s. America is young, fragile, still figuring itself out. The original 13 colonies stretch along the East Coast. Beyond that, vast wilderness. And one problem, the Mississippi River. If you lived west of the Appalachian Mountains, that river was everything. It was the highway of trade. Farmers depended on it to ship crops south to the port of New Orleans. And here's the catch. New Orleans wasn't American. It belonged to France. And that made President Thomas Jefferson nervous, very nervous. The global power play. Let's zoom out. France, under Napoleon Bonaparte, wasn't just some random country. It was a military powerhouse. Napoleon had dreams of rebuilding a French empire in North America. The Louisiana Territory was massive, stretching from the Mississippi River all the way to the Rocky Mountains. That's not a state, that's half a continent. Jefferson knew something simple. If France controlled New Orleans, America's economy could be strangled at any moment. So he made a move. Not with cannons, with diplomacy. Jefferson's plan. Jefferson sent James Monroe to France with a clear mission: buy New Orleans. That's it, not the whole territory, just the port city. Budget up to $10 million. Even that was risky. Remember, this was a small country with limited money. This wasn't a rich superpower yet. It was a startup nation trying to survive. But then, something unexpected happened. France made a counteroffer. They offered everything, the entire Louisiana Territory, for $15 million. Why would France do that? Good question. Napoleon had problems, big ones. First, a slave rebellion in Haiti had spiraled out of control. France was losing troops and money trying to hold on to the colony. Second, war with Britain was looming again, and Britain had the world's strongest navy. If war broke out, Britain could easily seize Louisiana from France. Napoleon realized something. Better to sell it than lose it. And who better to sell it to than America, a country that would weaken Britain's influence? It was strategic, cold, calculated, and fast. The shocking decision. When Monroe received the offer, he faced a huge problem. He wasn't authorized to buy all that land. Jefferson hadn't approved it. Technically, he didn't even have clear constitutional authority to purchase foreign territory like this. This wasn't written into the Constitution. So now Jefferson had a choice: stick to strict constitutional interpretation or take the deal of a lifetime. He chose the deal. Sometimes leadership means acting first and debating later. Old school, decisive move. The price. Let's break this down. $15 million for 828,000 square miles. That's about 3 cents per acre. 3 cents. Today, that would be worth hundreds of billions in land value. At the time, critics called it Jefferson's folly. They said the land was useless. It was too big to govern. It would cause chaos. But history tends to favor bold bets. Immediate impact. The United States instantly doubled in size. Doubled. The Mississippi River became American-controlled. New Orleans became secure. Western expansion was now possible. And just like that, the country's destiny changed. This wasn't just a land purchase, it was a power shift. America was no longer boxed in. It had room to grow, room to dream, room to dominate the continent. The long-term consequences. Now here's where it gets complicated. Expansion brought opportunity, but it also brought conflict. Native American tribes were displaced. New states meant new debates over slavery. The question became, would these new territories allow slavery or not? That tension would eventually explode into the Civil War. So while the Louisiana Purchase strengthened the nation, it also set the stage for one of its darkest chapters. history isn't simple. Big wins often carry heavy consequences. The Lewis and Clark expedition. Jefferson didn't waste time. He immediately sent explorers, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, westward. Their mission? Map the territory, study the land, find trade routes. Their journey opened the door to westward migration, pioneers, settlers, railroads, new states. The blueprint of modern America starts here. The legacy. Think about this. Without the Louisiana Purchase, no Missouri, no Kansas, no Nebraska, no Montana, no Colorado, no vast American heartland as we know it. The U.S. might have remained a coastal nation, smaller, weaker, boxed in. Instead, one calculated decision turned a young republic into a continental power. That's not luck, that's strategic vision. Final reflection. Jefferson once believed in strict limits on federal power, yet when opportunity knocked, he expanded it. Leadership isn't always clean. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's controversial, but in this case, it reshaped the future. The Louisiana Purchase wasn't just a land deal, it was a statement. America wasn't here to survive, it was here to expand. And from that moment forward, the world would never see it as small again. If you enjoy breaking down the real turning points that shaped America, stick around. History leaves clues, and we've got a lot more ground to cover.